Hello, scientists. I'm Azigius Wolf. Welcome back to the gaming facility. This is episode 3 in a Let's Play series looking at the starting days in Abiotic Factor. So if you haven't seen the previous 2 videos, there'll be a link to the playlist where I'm putting those. But go and watch those 2 first, and then come back and watch this because we're working through a bit of a sequence at the moment. So, where we left off previously, I had just gotten back after doing a bit of a loot run and picking up some of the gear that I'm going to need to expand our base a little bit. So, there are a few things here that I'm going to want. Let's see, what else do I need? So, the first thing that I'm going to be looking at trying to make is the crossbow. I have the supplies that I need for the crossbow. I thought I had everything I needed, because the crossbow is going to be our first ranged weapon, which is going to make our life a little bit easier moving forward. So it looks like I don't have the rubber band ball. I thought I did. That's okay. What we can do instead is actually focus on making the makeshift batteries. So it's going to be the makeshift battery as well as the plug strip are going to be really valuable for us to begin with. So we're going to start by making a couple of these, as well as crafting a plug strip. So, okay, so let's see. So we've got one battery. Now, batteries will store energy when the power goes out overnight, and the power normally goes out around 8 p.m, or 2000 hours if you're working on a 24-hour time frame. So when it does go out, all of this stops working. Any sort of powered stuff that you have that's plugged in will stop working. Refrigerators, all that sort of stuff. And we obviously want to make sure that they stay functional overnight. So what we're going to do first is we're going to set up a plug strip. So this will make it so that this single socket will actually break off into multiple sockets. And before I plug it in to plug strip, I'm going to be placing down a battery here and plugging this into the battery first. So what happens is this will charge up over time and it will expend its charge overnight. But one battery is not enough to run a crafting bench by itself. We actually need to chain 2 batteries together. Of course, I've got it unplugged. We need to chain 2 batteries together in order to have enough power for the duration. And so that's all I'm doing here. So, and what I can do is we've sort of daisy chained these together. So I've got the power socket going into the first battery. The first battery is then supplying the plug strip, and then the plug strip is plugged into the second battery, charge that, and you'll see that that's slowly starting to build up there. And then we plug that into the crafting bench. So what this means is that as this battery drains over time, this battery will feed into that. Now, it's not 100% efficient. There is some power loss, but this will actually stop the crafting bench from turning off overnight, which will happen in a few hours. Now, I need to go out and grab some more supplies. So let's go and dump some of this stuff back. because some of this stuff we don't need to be carrying around with us. Okay. So the big things that I want to go out and get now is is planks of wood, as well as the rubber ball bands, because they are going to help us build crossbows, as well as make small crates, which are our big goals for this episode, so that we can start getting our base set up a little bit better. So you can use the vacuum cleaner on panels of glass. Will break it automatically, as well as boxes, which will pick up planks of wood.
Hello.
So yeah, you will come across scientists.
I thought this
from
might
time
be a safe
time
place to wait until they sort this out.
So.
Whatever this is. Looks like I was wrong. That useless rent-a-cop in the plaza said to go through manufacturing, then head for the surface tunnel, I suppose. But that's a whole sector away. If they think I'm walking all that way through their toxic machine shops, they can think again.
Okay, so we've got a few of the items that we need now. We still need the rubber band balls. So coming through here actually connects us back to the office area. And also shows us a few other things that are floating around. So we're going to come back and loot this area a little bit later, possibly in the next episode, so that we can get the refrigerator, because that's going to be important in keeping our food nice and fresh, so that we're not wasting food, that we're going to the effort of collecting. Okay, let's see if we can get some of these rubber ball bands. Oh, rubber band balls, sorry. But pens are also going to be important because they make up a major component of the crossbow bolts that we are going to be making. Okay, so those. I don't want to spend too much time doing this because I want to get back to my base before it becomes nighttime, because there's an important thing that we can do at nighttime that we can't do at the moment. It is important to get up a decent amount of resources early on, because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to need to make that requires a vast range of resources. So that's what that's the carbuncle, and that's what we killed earlier. So they try and suck you in and then do damage to you. So you can chuck a net at them to immobilize them or to stop them, and just stomp on them. They're pretty easy to deal with. Okay. Just want a little bit more wood. Okay. That should give me all the wood that I need. Okay, so we're going to make our way back to our base now.
I could certainly use a drink.
So, and we've just started to hit the stage where we're needing to worry about our food and our water. So now one of the easy early ways to deal with thirst is just to drink from these water coolers. The great thing is that you can end up filling these up again in the future by boiling water and storing water in. So we'll be collecting some of those in a couple of future episodes as well. The other thing that you'll notice is that I've got a heavy load at the moment, so which is a debuff, which just lets me know that I'm carrying a large amount of stuff at the moment. Now, this is actually beneficial to me, though, because while I'm carrying a heavy load, it's going to give me strength XP, and this is the only way to obtain strength XP, is by carrying heavy loads of stuff. And by doing that, you'll actually be able to carry more loads, or heavier loads in the future, which is going to make life a little bit easier again when you're going out and gathering resources. Now, we're going to make this makeshift crossbow using these resources. Now, this is going to use up the desk leg that we've had as our melee weapon. Now, the durability from this is going to carry over to our makeshift crossbow. So just be aware of that when you are making this. That you'll see the durability there is still pretty low. But what I can do is actually come and right click on this and repair it. Duct tape. And that'll use a piece of duct tape just to repair it so that we're not having to worry about that issue anymore. So next we are going to make some storage containers. So my inventory is full at the moment, so it's just going to be dropping them at my feet. That's fine. What I can do, I'm just going to drop that on the raw carbuncle on the ground. Pick that up again in a sec. Now we're going to put this in place. I like to try and pop it here. Pop these down side by side. And then we'll use our screwdriver to make these. And this is going to make life a lot easier. We can start to actually properly dump stuff because we've got more storage space now. I like to make 3 or 4 of these early on. It just makes life that little bit easier running around, and you can stack these on top of each other, which is very useful to begin with. The other thing that is important to know about these is once you have crafted them, you can open it, and if you come across to where the crate name is, like storage crate small, we can rename the crate. So electrical. So I can rename the crate, which is useful not only for organizing things, if you happen to like to organize things a little bit like the way I do, put similar items together, but it also writes on the front of the container what it is, which is huge when you are trying to sort containers or you're trying to look for items and work out where you've stored something. This is a good way to be on top of that. Okay, so I'm going to go through and do this properly in the future. For now, I'm just going to dump all that stuff and get it out of my inventory. Now, the next thing that we need to make is ammunition for the crossbow. So this takes a metal scrap and pens, and this will craft 8 crossbow bolts. So now you'll notice that in reloading, we actually get reloading XP. That relates to this skill here. And there's a quick way, well, there's an easy way that you can level up XP for this, is just by unloading and reloading the crossbow over and over again. It can be a little bit of a cumbersome process, but by doing it this way, you can level up your reloading relatively quickly without actually expending any of your ammo. Ammo can be a little bit of a management pain early on in the game, and this is a good way to conserve your ammo, but also get your reloading. And the first reloading skill, or first reloading perk that we unlock at level 5 will actually allow us to craft ammo twice as fast. So, just, yeah, a little thing to keep in mind. Now, the other thing as far as inventory management is, on PC, you can right-click on squares to create locked inventory. And what that does is, when I'm sorting items all of the same type, it's going to still keep these locked in these squares and not transfer them over. Which just makes life a little bit easier as far as not accidentally getting rid of stuff you need. The other thing is the raw carbuncle is another item that emits very low radiation. This is the radiation shielding for this container that I was talking about. So you can see it's got a 10% radiation shielding. So I pop that in there, and it'll actually mean that I can get much closer, if not completely close, before that starts to cause any radiation issue for me. Now, you would have heard that overhead voice. That's letting me know that power is about to go on. Power is about to go down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up the episode at this stage, and when we come back, we're going to go and explore and do one or two things that we can only do at night time, but it's going to be very beneficial moving forward. So if you like the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I will have the next video out fairly quickly after this one. And until next time, don't forget to be awesome.